Hey guys, welcome back to the WODdoc Project 365, episode 418. Today what we're talking about is treating the rotators of the hip to achieve better hip flexion. Now, to give you a better idea of what this kind of looks like and why this works, I brought a skeleton along, and we're going to take a look at some bony landmarks and some anatomy. We can all agree in that, and we can picture this is where our femur comes out, our leg bone, right? And this is the backside of our hip. The biggest landmark that everyone could pretty much find on themselves is this little area right here called your PSIS, or posterior superior iliac spine. This is that little spot that when you feel in your back, that little nugget that's right there. So, knowing that, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this little corner piece right here. This is kind of in the crack of your butt, but just a little bit to the side, okay? This would be the complete crack. This would be more towards the side of your butt cheek or your gluteal crease, whichever one you want to call it. Now, knowing that, what happens is the rotators of the hip, they kind of attach, most of them, attach to this outside border or lateral border of your sacrum. And then they come over to where your leg would be inserted into your acetabulum right here, right? So what happens is when the leg wants to fold upwards, right? When the leg is down and you're standing, these muscles are decently short, or they're shortened. And when we want to fold our leg upwards, right, because the muscles are attached to the femur, okay, all these lateral rotators and medial rotators, they have to go ahead and they have to flex with, they have to lengthen with the elongation or the flexion of the femur, right? So you can see how this is farther away from this. If we're looking at this point right here on the lateral border of the sacrum, and this point versus this point, okay? Hopefully that makes sense to you guys, because then that will tie together everything that we're talking about here. Now, if we want to achieve better flexion of the hip, we need to be able to loosen these rotators, because a lot of these rotators stay in a shortened position with sitting and sedentary activities. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get a lacrosse ball. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the lacrosse ball right on that point right there. And from right there, we're going to drop down, or inferior, right? And we're going to spend some time just taking the lacrosse ball up and down this lateral border or outside border of our sacrum. And when we spend some time doing that, loosening up these structures right here, we're going to have more freedom for that hip to come into full flexion. So here's what I want our test to be for today. We're just going to lay onto our back like this. We're going to take our knee and bring it up to our chest as far as we can. This is going to give us a nice passive range of motion test for terminal hip flexion. From right there, we're going to take that ball just like I showed you on the skeleton. I'm going to find that little PSIS that I was talking about, okay? And I'm just going to sit up so I can put that pressure on that. From right there, I roll upwards, and I just fall down into that little divot right to the inside border, or I'm sorry, the outside border of that sacrum. You know that you're not on it if you're on your tailbone, so you're going to roll to the outside of the tailbone. So in this case, I'm going to be on my left side of the lateral border or outside border of my sacrum. From right there, I'm going to cross my leg. That just allows me to slacken those tissues and allows me to get a little bit deeper onto that outside border of the sacrum. But what I'm doing is I'm just rolling the border, the outside ridge, that bony prominence of that sacrum. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make 20 passes, okay, on the left side, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch it. When I switch it, the side that I'm working on is the side of the leg that's crossed. Again, I'm just starting on that PSIS, that bony landmark I showed you on the skeleton. I'm just rolling down or inferior until I find that outside border of the sacrum, and I'm just going to roll all the way down, all the way up it. It's not that far. It's not that big of a piece of material. I showed you the real estate that's on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 20 passes now on the right. Once I go ahead and I complete 20 passes on, in this case, the right, and 20 passes on the left, I want to go ahead and redo that 2 more times, so a total of three sets of these 20 passes. When I complete that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to retest my terminal hip flexion. I want you guys to go ahead and tell me, do you feel a difference between pre and post there, okay? Guys, hope that helps you out, and until tomorrow, we are optimizing function to optimize performance.